Imagine this, not a movie, not a myth, but reality today. A space rock like the one from 66 million years ago is approaching. You're still scrolling, dreaming, but Earth is heading toward a familiar ending. This time we would see it coming. News would erupt, markets would collapse, humanity would finally understand. Our civilization is only a thin sheet of glass. If it hits, you would see a flash first. Not from fire, but because the air itself becomes a weapon. Shockwaves tear across the ground at supersonic speed. Cities collapse like paper. Tectonic plates scream. The sky turns red. The world ignites. It is a planet raining fire upon itself. Knowing doesn't mean stopping it. Our legacy buried beneath the ash. The river of time flows on with or without us. Imagine this, because one day it might not be a movie. If you survive, that was only the first level. Because the world that follows is not a world of war. It is a world without order. Power grids fail. Satellites go silent. Supermarkets become empty museums. And humanity's greatest enemy is time. After impact, dust rises into the stratosphere, a black blanket wrapping Earth. Sunlight is blocked. Daylight turns dim. Temperatures crash. This is not a normal winter. This is a winter with no spring. You'll starve on day 90. Human civilization's food system is essentially a solar-powered factory. When the sun is blocked, Earth becomes a machine, unplugged. The impact injects sulfur and gases into the atmosphere. Then comes acid rain. This is a chemical reset of the planet. When sunlight vanishes, the ocean begins to suffocate. The entire marine food chain breaks, just like it did in the dinosaur age. Coastlines fill with bodies, not humans, but the life of an entire sea. We are not the top of the food chain. We are merely part of it. If humanity wants to endure, we must abandon the surface. Underground bunkers, subway tunnels, mines, deep shelters. The polar regions may also become refugees. They are already cold and technology could sustain warmth. But even then, survival is not living. We would return to something primitive: storage, isolation, waiting. Waiting for the sky to turn blue again. After a year, dust begins to settle. The sky is no longer completely dark, but the world has changed. Bones and ash cover the land. Civilization becomes ruins. Cities become silent graveyards. And in the ashes, the first to return is not humanity. It is insects, fungi, bacteria. Life never asks if you are ready. It simply begins again. Ten years later, plants return, climate slowly warms. Oceans begin to heal, but humanity's population may shrink to 1,000th. Languages vanish, nations disappear, technology collapses backward. And those who remain would look up at the sky and understand the world in an ancient way. Not Wi-Fi, not satellites, but wind, clouds, rain, and sunlight. In that moment, humanity would finally understand the dinosaurs, because we too become the past. "66 million years ago, dinosaurs vanished, but Earth did not. It simply restarted. Changed the main character, cleared the stage, and let life rewrite itself. If the dinosaur extinction happened again today, we would realize something terrifying. Earth was never ours. We are only temporary guests on this planet, brief as dust, small as ocean spray. And that asteroid is not evil. It is simply the universe exhaling once, It will always continue. By the second year, the sky is still gray. Some sunlight returns, but it is not warm. It feels like the weak breath of a recovering patient. Not enough to bring forests back, but enough for the world to see its own corpse. Charred tree trunks cover the land. Cities stand like burned skeletons. Shattered glass glitters in the rubble, like the last tears of civilization. And humanity begins to understand. This is not the stage where disaster ends. It is only the stage where disaster becomes silent. The true horror was never the explosion. It was what came after, when you were still alive. Food begins to rot. Canned supplies run out. Freezers have long stopped working. Humanity returns to its oldest state, raiding. In the cities, the first thing to collapse is trust. You no longer trust your neighbors. You no longer trust strangers, and soon you cannot even trust friends. When the world loses its rules, human nature is forced to become animal, not because of evil, but because of survival. Some form tribes, some become warlords, some turn supermarkets into fortresses, some treat water sources like thrones. If the dinosaur extinction repeats, humans would not vanish immediately, but human civilization would be devoured by humans themselves. When dust blocked the sun, Earth cooled rapidly. But even when the dust begins to settle, the climate does not return to normal, because the atmosphere's balance is broken. Ocean circulation is disrupted. Currents slow down, some may even stop. The tropics grow cold. The polar regions become deadly. We once believed climate was stable, but now Earth becomes a machine dropped and cracked. It still runs, but no longer by the same rules. Snow may fall on deserts, drought may strike rainforests. Extreme weather becomes a wild beast, tearing the planet apart. The dinosaur extinction was not instant death. It was years of slow suffocation. In this new world, silence is the only legacy. Knowledge, once our greatest weapon, now lies buried under the weight of ash. The echoes of laughter have long been replaced by the howling wind. Yet Earth continues its indifferent cycle, watching as we struggle to breathe. In the end, we are but a brief whisper in the long history of the stars. When you step outside the shelter, you will hear the silence of the world. No insects, no birds, no wind through leaves because the leaves are gone. You may wonder if your hearing is broken, but it is not. Earth becomes a planet without background sound. Like a movie with its music removed, the oceans grow silent too. Dolphins vanish, whales vanish, waves still crash, but that is only physics, not life. After the dinosaur extinction, the greatest change was not death, it was silence. When forests burn, they consume oxygen. When cities burn, they release toxic smoke. When the whole world burns, the atmosphere becomes suffocating. Humanity would rely on air filters, oxygen tanks, sealed shelters. For the first time, you realize air is not guaranteed. We once thought the apocalypse would be water shortage, food shortage, energy shortage. But the real apocalypse might be this: you can no longer breathe clean air. Creatures 66 million years ago had no masks, no basements, no shelters. They simply collapsed under poisoned skies. And modern humans only have slightly better technology. That does not mean we are stronger. When large creatures die en masse, the world does not become empty. Death is simply the beginning of another kind of prosperity. explode. Fungi spread. They don't need sunlight, they don't need forests, they only need bodies. Earth becomes wrapped in the smell of decay, like one massive graveyard. This is Earth's cleanup system, microbes recycling everything. And humanity would finally understand, we are not Earth's masters, we are Earth's nutrients. After the dinosaur extinction, the true winners were not mammals, they were the invisible lives. Many people think, if it hits the ocean, it's better. But that is a deadly illusion. If the asteroid strikes the sea, ocean water instantly vaporizes into superheated steam. The seabed explodes open. Mega-tsunamis race toward continents within minutes. That is not a wave, it is a moving wall. Coastal cities are erased. Ships are thrown inland. Harbors turn into debris. Even worse, salt and steam injected into the atmosphere push the climate into extremes. Rainstorms, floods, hail, and violent winds would assault the planet like madness. Our world would shift from a civilization planet into a storm-driven hell. You thought the sky would always be blue, but that was only a fragile gift of Earth's atmosphere. After impact, dust and smoke change the scattering of light. The sky turns yellow-brown, like a desert, like an old photograph, like burned paper. Sunrise is no longer beautiful. It looks like a wound. Sunset is no longer romantic. It feels like a warning. Night becomes unfamiliar too, because smoke blocks the stars. You look up and realize the universe is far away. On the day dinosaurs died, the sky may have looked the same, like a world going dark.